Hey Kingdom Kids, Mr. Frankie here. Here is the devotional for us today. Last week, if you remember the devotional or if you were here at church, we learned about Moses' farewell to the Israelites as he walks up the mountain and he dies in the mountain. And so Joshua becomes a new leader for the Israelites, God's people. And so this week we are learning about how the Jordan River, is stopping the Israelites from crossing over to reach the promised land or to reach Canaan. And so today we learn about how God um, leads his people across the river by parting the river apart. So in this picture here, you see here are the Israelites, and here's land, and this is the Ark of God going across the river. And if you look, the river is being parted open. And so, this story, I want us to remember this: God held back the Jordan River for his people to cross. Again, God held back the Jordan River for his people to cross. So, now let's get into the story. The story comes from Joshua chapters 1 through 4. However, I'm going to be reading a summarized story for us, okay? So this is crossing the Jordan, and it goes like this. God had promised Abraham that his descendants would live in Canaan. After wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, it was time for the remaining people to enter Canaan. Moses was dead, and God chose Joshua to be the new leader of Israel. God told Joshua, "Be strong and courageous." Now, the only thing keeping the Israelites from the land God promised to them was the Jordan River. The river was deep and wide. The Israelites could never get across on their own, but God was going to help them. God told Joshua and the other leaders what to do. The leaders obeyed God. The priests carried the Ark of God ahead of the people to the edge of the river. The Ark reminded them that God was with them. The rest of the Israelites followed behind the Ark. Joshua said, "Listen, God is going to do something great. When these men carry the Ark of God into the river, God will make the waters part in the river. Then you will know God is with us." The people watched. The priests carrying the ark took a step into the river. God made the water part. The priests stood on dry ground in the middle of the river, and all the Israelites crossed safely on dry ground. God told Joshua, "Tell the people to take 12 stones from the middle of the river where the priests are standing with the ark. They should carry those stones with them and put them down where they spend the night tonight." God wanted the stones to be a memorial. A memorial is something that helps people remember a person or something that happened. The people would see the stones and remember that God helped them cross the river. In the future, when children saw the stones and said, "Why are these rocks here?" the people could tell their children that God has parted the water, and everyone would know that God is mighty. The Israelites did exactly what God told them to do. They picked up 12 huge stones and made a memorial. The priests with the ark crossed the river, and the waters began to flow again. The river was deep and wide like it was before. At last, God's people were in the promised land. And the Bible verse for us today comes from Deuteronomy 31:8. "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." So let's read this one more time. "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." And the question for us today is this: how can we glorify God? So how did the Israelites glorify God when they crossed over the Jordan River? We can glorify God by loving Him and obeying Him. we can glorify God by loving Him and obeying Him. So, Kingdom Kids, today's story is about Joshua leading the Israelites over the Jordan River as God parts the river apart for His people to cross. So if you are not able to come to church next week, I will also have a video for you guys. But if you do come to church, I remember that we have our nursery classes open. We have a younger class, which is pre-K through third grade. Second grade. And then we have our older classes from third grade through fifth grade. So I'm ready to see those who have not seen in a long time. And at the same time, if you are still at home, I will have these devotional videos for you guys to watch too. All right, well, this is Mr. Frankie. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will see you guys next time.